Good evening. Welcome to this Week in Review. Tonight's stories include Who Wants to Win $50? More wall paintings at SJCH. Town employees were busy on Monday. These stories plus community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
6 months ago, she didn't know what kidney disease was. Today, it affects every aspect of her life. Hours of dialysis don't leave much time for bedtime stories. She misses weekend camping trips. She misses family pizza night. And her daughter misses them too. Through research and patient services, the Kidney Foundation is helping to create a better life for patients and their families.
The Who Wants to Win $50 sponsored by the ELP Committee was very successful. The ELP Committee planned this event for Violence Awareness Week. Constable Ron Caldwell hosted the show, and there were 7 contestants. The show was modeled after the popular TV program Who Wants to Win $1 Million. This year we had a different aspect to the show. Tammy Courtney, public health nurse, brought along a laptop computer and operated the PowerPoint program. This was very neat and added to the show. The contestants and viewers can see the questions as the host reads them. Here's a look.
Okay. First question for $1. Which of the following groups works to provide violence awareness in Burgeo? Ground Search and Rescue, Bridging the Gap Project, Help Committee, or ICT Project?
And what's that question worth again?
$1.
I'm going to say ELP Committee.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
And the answer is number 3, the Help Committee. That is correct. You have now $1 in your bank, Mr. Hand.
Okay.
Question number 2 for $2. According to statistics, who is more likely to become the bully? Boys, girls, teachers, or adults?
I said boys.
The program will be shown in its entirety on Tuesday, March the 11th at 7:30 p.m. on Community Channel 10. While we were at the school last week taking a few pictures of the Badger banner, we also took a few pictures of the Art 1201 wall paintings. We have already seen some work done by these students. Early in the school year, these students did drawings of scenes of Burgeo, and just recently the paper mache project. We begin with this painting of Pooh and Friends by Krista Ingram and Chantel Porter. Trista Blake and Ellen McDonald were just beginning their wall painting process. With the help of an overhead projector, they were tracing the Lion King on their section of the school. Upstairs, Joey Windsor was working on Snoopy. Jeff Janes and Michael Durnford were painting their skidoo. The students working in the stairway disappeared when we approached. This Pooh and Friends is the work of Danielle Short and Carrie Lynn Ann. Jennifer Ann and Santana Parsons are almost completed their recess group. Because of the art class, the walls at AJM and SJCH is looking cheerful and pleasant. Everyone has probably heard the old saying, if March comes in like a lamb, it goes out like a lion. Well, March came in like a lamb. Saturday was a very beautiful day. Some would say the perfect March day. However, on Monday, the lion reared its ugly head. Not with snow, but with rain and wind. Town employees had planned to work on the water leak in the Harborview Crescent area, but had to change their plans. Clayt was busy moving some snow near the Newtel building. School was canceled as well as meetings and other activities due to the weather. From the government wharf, it didn't look too pleasant with the eye waves and eye winds. Around town there was quite a bit of water. Near the post office and the parish hall seemed to be the 2 of the worst areas. The trailer court also had high water levels. March may have come in like a lamb, but we hope that line will keep the nasty weather to a minimum. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
It took billions of years, but it was perfect. New life coming from the old, part of it hot, part of it frozen. A constantly moving blend of atmospheric elements kept the thermostat perfect to support the delicate balance. It has been called a miracle. And when you see how perfectly everything works together, you realize that it is. But today, the earth is warming. If it continues, what quenched our thirst will flood the land. What filled our plates will turn to dust. Nature is not doing this. We are. Nature cannot stop it. We can, but we have to start now.
On Wednesday of this week, our MHA, Calvin Parsons, along with Jerry Reed, Minister of Education, and Oliver Langdon, Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs, attended the AJM SJCH Education Week Assembly. All teachers, students, and staff of both schools gathered in the gym for the assembly. Mr. Linehan welcomed everyone and invited Samantha Benoit to explain why the grade 5-6 class were giving out paper doves to everyone as they came into the gym.
Hi, my name is Samantha Benoit, and I'm a grade 5-6 student here at the school. Our class has handed a small paper doves today. We will hope that you wear these doves to show our belief in the peaceful solutions to world problems. Thank you.
Next up, the grade 4 sang a song in honor of Education Week.
This land is your land, this land is my land, from Ghana Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters. This land was made for you and me. The sun was walking after the highway. I saw a lovely red in the starlight. I saw the lonely left open valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From Ghana Vista to Vancouver Island, from the Arctic Circle to the Great Lake waters. This land was made for you and me.
Megan Foote and Jennifer Hand did a presentation of some of the activities at SJCH.
This is our tutor. There's me, Megan, on the back, or through the end, Paul here, and just recently, Grandma. We meet at school Sundays and Tuesdays from 7 to 9. We're here upstairs in the meeting room. We're aired out, if you need any out, or we set up one-on-one in the back here, one-on-one. So it's not even known that live.
Our MHA, Calvin Parsons, had a couple of presentations to make.
Again, thank you, Minister Reed. There's a few matters I'd like to clear up as well. Someone asked me when I came in if the election was on and if we were campaigning. No, the election is not on. No, I'm not campaigning, but there are a few matters that concern the town of Burgeo that I would like to clear up. First of all, could Ms. Penny come forward, please, teacher? We had a request some time ago that came from Ms. Penny and Mr. Lenahan on behalf of the school looking for some funds for interprovincial travel because some students want to go to Corner Brook. I'm pleased to announce and would like to present to Ms. Penny now a check for $700 so that students can actually do that travel. Another thing I'd like to do, and this is, we've had education here, but in addition to being educated, we had to give thanks sometimes to people who have helped in our towns over the years. And besides celebrating Education Week here, we have another important task that I'd like to perform today. You've all heard of the Queen's Jubilee. That's the 50th anniversary of when Queen Elizabeth came to the throne. She's been there 50 years. And in addition to being the Queen of England, she is also the Queen of Canada. And to celebrate this special occasion, certain people are being awarded a medal called the Queen's Jubilee Medal. And each member of the House of Assembly, like myself, I'm a member of the House of Assembly, we get to recommend 2 people in our district for consideration for this honor. This medal may only be awarded to Canadian citizens who have contributed positively to the educational, cultural, social, business, or political betterment of one's community. We have one such person amongst us here today. This person spent virtually all of their working career here in Burgeo. This person played a major role in the business community of Burgeo. This person played a role in the education of Burgeo, in the education system of Burgeo. This person played a role in municipal government of Burgeo. This person works tirelessly for the communications and technological advancement of Burgeo. This person is relentless in pursuing economic opportunities for Burgeo. This person is determined to see Burgeo achieve its tourism potential. This person wants Burgeo to have the best recreational facilities. This person eats, sleeps, and exists solely for the betterment, in my opinion, of Burgeo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Edward Roberts to present the Queen's Jubilee Medal to Mr. George Reed. He had no idea, by the way, that this was happening here today. It's with an absolute secret. He will probably have a few words to say to me because of the surprise. But as you all know, and some of you students probably don't know, Mr. Reed also taught here in Burgeo for many, many years. And a lot of students have come under his guidance and tutelage over those years. Mr. Reed. Congratulations. Thank you.
I don't know what to say about this. If I knew it, I wouldn't have been here for sure. I don't know where Mr. Parsons dug up all that stuff, but somebody's hidden a lot of lies. But for less, I should appreciate this, and I guess I should wear it to show that I suppose that somebody thought a lot of some of the things that I've done. But really and truly, that devoted Burgeo was probably the only thing that's on my mind in relationship to time I spent teaching here with the students, and time now that I'm retired from teaching, trying to work to get the plant open again. I guess the main thing we've been trying to try to establish some vacation for people that want to stay in this lovely town. So I guess I'm kind of shaking saying this stuff. One would never know that spent 30 years talking to students, one would get up here and shake. But nevertheless, thank you, Mr. Parsons.
Then Minister of Education Jerry Reed spoke to our students.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons, principals Lenahan and tonight, teachers, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's certainly a pleasure for me to be here today, having been a student myself a long, long time ago, and a teacher. It's always a pleasure to stand in front of a group of students, because as they say, being amongst young people keeps you young, and I certainly want to stay young. In fact, I'd like to be younger. But it's a pleasure for me to be here today to help you celebrate Education Week. Education Week is a time when we reflect on the importance of education and the value of learning. A good education is the foundation of success. If you look at most of the prosperous countries around the world, you will find that they have one thing in common, and that is the stress that is put on a good education system and educating their youth. With quality education, you acquire life skills and the power of knowledge. Most importantly, you acquire freedom and ability for your future. You determine your future. Education opens up a world of opportunities, and indeed, education opens up the world. I can't speak too long because I know that your bus comes at 10 minutes to 12, and I'm sure that nobody wants you to miss your bus today, because I can remember when I was a student myself and when I was a teacher. I didn't want to listen to any long-winded politician when the bell was ready to ring and the bus was ready to take us home. This year, our theme for education is many places, many faces, one spirit. Well, if I look around here today, like I have in a number of schools around the province this past week, I see many faces, many different faces. And I've been in many different places, not only in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, but all over the country, and in some countries around the world. So I see many faces. I've been to many places, but one thing that unites us is one spirit. Pardon me? One spirit. And when we look at our global village, we do indeed see many places, many faces. It is with one spirit, however, that we will continue to strive for peace and prosperity throughout the world. Throughout the events of the past few years, that spirit has been more than evident in Newfoundland and Labrador. If we look to the events of September the 11th and more recently the events of what's happening in Badger, we see that the spirit of Newfoundland shines through. And it's no better example than what Minister Langan has been experiencing in Badger and what you, the Student Council, have done here in the community when you got together even before the town meeting and decided that you were going to do a fundraiser to help your fellow students out in the town of Badger. I commend you for that, and I think it's a great idea. I'd like for you, for the rest of Education Week, to look in your education resource book to see which activities you can run. Because when I was a teacher, I certainly loved Friday was always the best day at our school, because that's the day that we had our sports day and the Cookie Olympics. We had a great time, and I hope they do have a great time this week. Before I sit down, I would like to encourage each and every one of you to continue with your education and go on to some form of post-secondary education, because learning is something that you should never stop. I encourage each and every one of you to be everything that you can be. Go on to a post-secondary education, university or a college of the North Atlantic or another school that you may wish to attend. Because, as your parents all know, education is the key to your success. Before I sit down, I want to give you one example of the importance of an education, and that I heard on CNN News the other morning in Corner Brook while I was waiting to go and address the junior high school there. On the news that morning, they were talking about a study that was being done that had been done on car seats in vehicles in the United States, because what they were finding in accidents, there were a number of accidents that involved car seats. So the authorities assumed that there was a problem with the car seats themselves. On further investigation, what they found, it wasn't the car seats. It was the manual for installing car seats. The manual was written at an education level of a grade 10 student. In other words, you needed to be basically have a grade 10 education in order to understand how to install the car seat in the vehicle. You know what they found in the United States? That less than 50% of the adults in the United States had above a grade 8 education. I could not believe it. Just imagine not have enough education to be able to install a car seat that would protect your children in a vehicle. That certainly brought home to me the importance of an education. Anyway, there's more speakers left to come. I certainly am pleased to be here with you today, and I certainly look forward maybe in September to come back for the opening of that new school just up the road. Because believe me, this government, which I and Mr. Parsons and Mr. Langan is a part of, we believe that you should have a building every bit as good as anywhere in this province, and that you should as well have the education as good as anywhere else, of any student in our province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Certainly a pleasure to be here, and I thank you for having me. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
the Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs, Mr. Oliver Langland, at a very special announcement.
Thank you very much, Kelvin, my colleague Jerry, principals Lenahan and Knight, teachers and pupils and citizens of Burgeo. It's certainly a pleasure for me to be here with Kelvin. And one thing about Kelvin and people like Jerry, they're ministers, obviously, of provincial government, but they're also MHAs. And you know, as they already said, I'm in municipal affairs, and we do the water and sewer systems. We're doing one for Burgeo now. By the time it's finished, you'll probably have some of the cleanest water to drink in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. It costs us a lot of money to be able to do that, and as a government, we cost shared on very favorable terms with this town. And those guys own me all the time. Jerry, as a number of communities, and Kelvin, I'll call him, as a number of communities, and they're always saying, Oliver, I want this, and I want that, and I want this, and I want that. And I got to say to those guys, I don't have the money, I don't have it in this pocket, but they don't seem to understand, so they still come after me. Some time ago, I was here in Burgeo, and I met with the Recreation Association here, and they did lobby hard again for a recreation facility for this particular town. And Kelvin, I want you to come here with me because you've done a lot of work in this area. You're, as I said, handling to debt. And I want to say to you and to the people of Burgeo that we have approved $845,000 to build a new rink this coming year. Kelvin dropped my back for today. And I guess he'll be there again tomorrow on the next day, always persistent like everybody else. But I recognize the need for that. You see, when I saw the students here, and I'll end very briefly on that because I know I'm out of time. When I finished school in Seal Cove in grade 11 at the time, and now when we want to have a reunion, I can do it very easily. Because I was the only person in grade 11 in the school. So I can have a reunion whenever I like, but I recognize the need for the smaller communities. In fact, when I became the member for our district from Ramkara East to Ramia, we had no arenas in the district. Now we have one in Arbor-Breton, and I was in the one in St. Albans just a few days ago. They have a beautiful arena there, something like the one that you're going to have here. So I look forward to seeing it built, because it would mean a lot, not only to Burgeo, but it would mean a lot to the people of Ramia next door, and also hopefully the people from Grey River and from Francois can also avail of the facility as well. So I'm very, very pleased and honored to be here with Kelvin and Jerry today and be able to announce that for your community. Again, thank you very much.
Rebecca Young and Ingrid Strickland closed the assembly with a song. A reception followed. Our MHA, Calvin Parsons, dropped by our studio after the assembly at the school. We have with us in our studio once again our MHA, Calvin Parsons. Welcome back, Kevin.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
Back again so soon.
Quick visit.
Quick visit.
Yeah. It was a very interesting day at the school. We had lots of announcements.
Yes, I came in because I at first arranged for Jerry Reed, who's the Minister of Education, to visit the district, and Oliver Langdon also wanted him to go to Ramia. So Minister Reed had consented to do that, and Mr. Lenahan at the school and Ms. Benoit arranged that. So in amongst that, of course, there's the Queen's Jubilee Medal, which the MHA gets to recommend 2 persons, and one of the persons that I recommended was from Burgeo. So I thought it was a great opportunity to do the presentation of that medal at the school, particularly in view of the fact that the person who received it was a longtime teacher here.
That's right.
And I thought we're better to do it than amongst his colleagues and his students and so on, where he had taught for so many years, and that was Mr. George Reed, who's been a great contributor to town of Burgeo, and I thought a very deserving recipient of it. And fortunately, the Lieutenant Governor and the Queen's Council agreed with me, so we did that. And probably most importantly, regarding the stadium, we've had an ongoing proposal for some time as to cover the rink we have here, and different proposals really going on for many, many years, long before I was ever the MHA, going back probably 12, 15 years. Yes. And the latest one called for covering the rink, and they also wanted a chilling apparatus in it so that you could make use of it for the maximum period of time. And that had been put to Minister Langdon back some time ago, some months ago. He was here in December. So he announced as well today, thank goodness, that he's prepared, and they've given funding of $845,000 to do that project. So, in fact, I had the committee geared up, who were responsible for the proposal, the Recreation Committee, to hopefully meet with him after the assembly to twist his arm a little bit, because I knew I was that close to getting it. Yeah. But, of course, he has the final word, and we didn't have any need to have the meeting because he announced at the auditorium this morning that, yes, the funding was there.
Yes, that's right.
And it's on very favorable terms for the community. It's 80-20 funding, which means that the government of Newfoundland and Labrador will put in 80% of it, of that $845,000, and the balance of $20,000 must come from the community. But of course, in our case, we already have virtually our 20%, because the recreational committees that you've had over the years had raised a significant amount of money on behalf of the committees and the councils and so on. So their share is virtually all intact.
That's right.
And I'd like to thank, by the way, in addition to Minister Langdon, who's always been in my corner to help get things done for Burgeo, whether it's a water system or whatever we need in the community. The people on the Recreation Committee who push this, and not only the current Recreation Committee, I must point out as well, going back, guys like Glenn Peterson and so on, who've been involved as long as I've been here pushing this initiative. And regardless who chairs the committee or who's on the committee, everybody had their sights set on the same goal.
That's right.
And fortunately now they've been lucky enough to achieve it. So from me, hats off to all of them, because they were the ones, the men and women of Burgeo, who put it together, who pushed it, and pushed me to go after Oliver Langdon, and we've been lucky enough to get it.
And it was certainly well received. You were there, and I think the kids were very pleased, as was members of the community that was there. Now, this 800 and some odd thousand, that includes what the town is already. That's a sum total, is it?
The total of the project will cost $845,
okay,
of which 80% will be provided by the provincial government, and the balance is being provided, I believe, from the Recreational Committee funding that's been raised over the years.
Yeah.
So now it's a case of get it to the engineers, get it on the drawing board. We've already had some specs done as to the type of size building we wanted. And this, by the way, is only, to me, phase one again of the final project. We want to get the rink covered. We want to have a chilling process in place so that we can maximize the use of it. And of course, we got a long ways to go after this again. We're not going to be satisfied with this, but down the road, piece by piece, we want to have proper stands, we want to have proper dressing rooms, we want to have proper canteen facilities. But this is the first major step towards that ultimate goal.
Yes. You were just saying before we started that you took a tour of our school.
I did, and I've seen it from the outside since it started several times, but it's the first time I've actually been taken in and taken through by the foreman there on the project, and it is fantastic. In fact, Minister Reid did the tour with me, as well as Minister Langdon, and Minister Reid commented that he just opened 2 new schools on the Northern Peninsula last week, and he said, in his opinion, neither of those, nor anything he has seen, meets or matches the design quality of the one that we got here. The workmanship to date is fantastic. The design is just out of this world. You got everything in it, from adult learning centers to the BBS is going to be a part of the facility, to the gymnasium that's there with the stage and so on, and just super, I thought, construction and design for this facility. And I'm sure when the students see it open in September and they get into it, that they will be second to none in this province when it comes to school facilities. It's just, I couldn't believe actually how superior it is from what I saw.
Having said that, that was wonderful. We're glad, and it is a beautiful building. But it's come to, and I wasn't aware of it. I've been over there a couple times myself. But there's a tiny little flaw, tiny flaw. Some would say huge flaw.
You must be referring to the Sea Cadet
yes,
storage facilities.
Our Sea Cadets doesn't have anywhere to make it home after this school is closed.
Yes, that matter was brought to my attention by Mr. Caldwell. Of course, Ron has been involved for many, many years since he's been here with the Sea Cadets. And in fact, I believe now heads it up. Yes. He told me, in fact, while we were at the stadium, at the school announcing the stadium, about the Sea Cadet problem, and he had gone through the design, and there was no particular place in that facility for the Sea Cadets to use for their niche, and to have their equipment and so on, and their things in the building. He had gone over and looked over the design diagrams and seen that, from what he could determine, he didn't see anything there. So we brought it to the attention of Minister Reid, who was doing the tour. I explained to him just how important the Sea Cadets have been to Burgeo for all these years and decades, actually, and how important and the connection between the Sea Cadets and the school over all these years. And we also brought it to the attention of the contractor there. And to me, you know, it's just it's an oversight that cannot be accepted. I mean, that's a problem that has to be remedied to my eyes. There's not a case of can we fix it. The case is when we're going to fix it and how we're going to fix it. And that's how strongly I feel about it. And I brought that concern to these people and said, look, in the course of getting this done, we want to do this right. So the one thing that I see that's not here is the Sea Cadets. So how are we going to fix it? So I fully expect that that's not going to be a lasting issue. Unfortunately, we're not going to have Ron Caldwell here with us after June, as I understand it. But and I would comment as well, he's been a fantastic supporter of the Sea Cadets, and anything that I've tried to do here for youth and involvement with him from a justice point of view and a community point of view, he's always been there. So best of luck to him and his family as he moves on as well.
But having said that, that won't drop because the Lions Club is sponsors of the Sea Cadets. So you've spoken to them. Now they don't see a problem with making room in that building for the Sea Cadets.
Yeah, we got to iron it out. They understand that this is not acceptable. I mean, we're going to do this. We want to do it right. So finding a place for them is going to be crucial there.
Excellent. You also, when you were at school, gave a check to Mrs. Penny. I think that was for some travel.
Yes.
She's been soliciting you, has she?
Yes. Yeah, we often get requests, teachers want to take students because as good as your own school may be, there's activities that take place when you want your students to take part in activities in other locations.
That's right.
And it's very costly for parents to, and for the students to fundraise and whatever to get enough dollars to enable them to do that. So she had made a request some time ago of the Department of Education, and I became aware of it, that she wanted to take some students to Corner Brook for certain school activities. And we were lucky enough to get a few dollars, and I presented her with the check at the assembly this morning for $700 to do that. So it was a morning of surprises to me in some regards, and a lot of good stuff for Burgeo in it, and I'm very pleased to have been able to help out there.
Is there anything else you'd like to hear?
Just to say that I wish every day I came to Burgeo could be as pleasant in the sense of always bringing things here. I understand as well, good news I heard this morning, that Seacrest, who are proceeding with the plant facility at the processing facility at the shed, that's all set to go, and they're coming in April actually with their equipment to get that project finished and up and running. So it's been a very pleasant day, and it's nice to see that we got all these new things of water systems, and they're going to have rinks and stadiums and new schools that are up to state-of-the-art facilities, and hopefully get some employment here now with the processing facility. So it's been a very positive day and a very positive week all in all.
Oh, well.
The only down note, I guess, is that our mayor has not been well, and
Yes.
I guess everybody's in Burgeo is aware that he had surgery. I understand that it's been very successful. I spoke to his son Tony in St. John's, and he's going to be resting up in there for a week or so. So all the best to Alistair, and I always knew he was full of heart. Now we know he's got his heart fixed for sure. So best of luck, and I'm sure he'll be back and screaming and growling on behalf of Burgeo as soon as he can get on his feet again.
Yeah. Well, we certainly thank you for coming in and just pointing out some more pointers to and answering our questions.
No problem, anytime. Thank you.
Excellent. Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
What if your family lived in a home on an island you couldn't leave? With limited amounts of food and safe drinking water. It would be very important to make things last, wouldn't it? Especially if your family kept growing and growing and growing. Well, it doesn't matter where your home is, because we all live on an island we can't leave. So please, use only what you need, because supplies truly are limited. We can do that.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of Education Week activities at the A.J. Matthews Elementary School. Let's look back to March 1987.
Good evening. Welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rebecca Young. The winners of the Sea Cadet TV Bingo were Joyce Strickland, Brenda Sheaves, Diane Kendall, and Maxine Porter. Congratulations to you all. The next scheduled TV Bingo will be hosted by the Help Committee on Wednesday, March 12th at 7 p.m. Cards are $1 each, or 6 for $5, and are available from any member of the Help Committee and the grade class, and are in most stores around town. Please support the grade class, and you could be the next $300 winner. The driver examiner will be in Burgeo on Wednesday, March 19th to do written and road tests, as well as photo IDs. The Help Committee is planning a seniors information fair in April 2003. The fair will offer food, fun, and facts while providing our seniors with the opportunity to socialize. Any local entertainer who is willing to play music during the fair, please call Trudy at 886-2297. The Burgeo Tourism IGM Dinner and Dance will go ahead on Saturday, March 29th at the Community Center, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Tickets cost $10 per person and can be purchased from any member of the Tourism Committee. Guest speaker will be Jerry Murphy, chairperson of the Festival Coast Tourism Association. The Sand and Sea Committee are selling tickets on a painting by Betty Buckland Kosser. The painting was donated by the Buckland and Kosser families. The frame was donated by Brian Dix. Tickets cost $1 each or 3 for $2 and are in most stores around town and available from any Sand and Sea Committee member. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we would be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. Tune in on Tuesday for the Elk Committee Who Wants to Win $50. Try your luck on Wednesday by playing Elk Committee TV Bingo. On Thursday, we'll have a rebroadcast of the Bandwagon. Join Pans and the Gang for 2 stories, a craft, and lots of fun on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. on Pansy's Garden. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. Please stay tuned now for the Bandwagon. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.